You know, every single flight you've ever been on doesn't start with the roar of the engines. Nope, it starts with a quiet, super methodical conversation up in the cockpit. It's basically a script rehearsed for every possibility that keeps you safe before the wheels even start to roll. So let's dive into this little scene but absolutely critical procedure, the pilot's departure briefing. So let me ask you something. What do you think is the most important conversation that happens on any flight? Is it, the captain saying welcome aboard? Or maybe the back and forth with air traffic control? I mean, those are definitely important for sure. But the really crucial conversation, the one that sets the stage for everything, well, it happens long before any of that. And this right here is the answer. It's the departure briefing sheet. You can think of it as a checklist on steroids. For the pilots, this paper is the bedrock of the entire flight. It's a crazy detailed plan that covers everything from a normal pushback from the gate to how to handle an engine fire at the worst possible moment.
Okay, so the briefing always kicks off with the basics. It's all about confirming the flight plan and just making sure all the conditions are a go. This is the moment the crew gets on the exact same page, double-checking every single detail of the journey ahead of them.
Now, what's so cool here is just how specific it all is. The crew confirms the aircraft registration, VTSUH, their destination, Jaipur, and their cruising altitude, flight level 240. That's 24,000 feet up. They confirm the weather is good to go, and they've checked all the NOTAMs, those are the notices to airmen, for any potential curveballs on the route. Every single box has to be ticked.
And this just brilliantly shows you the level of detail they get into. They've already decided which engine to start first. They know how they're going to use the ground air support. And most importantly, they've already planned for what happens if something goes wrong right now. And notice the specifics for an emergency evac. Fuel on board is 5.4 tons, and there are 82 persons on board. These numbers are absolutely vital for any emergency services on the ground.
All right, so with all the static checks done, the plan starts to move. The aircraft is about to push back from the gate, and now the briefing covers the precise, methodical steps for taxiing all the way to the runway. So let's just walk through how this whole sequence builds. First, they get clearance from ATC, simple enough. Then they review the critical takeoff speeds, which are based on the plane's exact weight for that day. But look at step 3. This is so important. It's not enough for one pilot to see the numbers. They have to be reviewed and confirmed out loud by both pilots. It's a deliberate backup, a critical safety check, all before they even think about finishing the final checklist. And here are those magic numbers they're confirming, all calculated for this specific flight. These aren't just random numbers. They represent critical moments in time. V1, that's the big one, the go/no-go speed. VR is when they actually pull back and the plane starts to fly. And V2 is the minimum safe speed they need to climb at if an engine decides to quit on them. Let's just focus on this one number for a second. 134 knots. For this flight, this is V1. It is, without a doubt, the single most important number during that entire takeoff roll. It's the absolute last moment a pilot can decide to slam on the brakes and safely stop the plane on the runway. 1 knot faster, and that's it. They're committed to flying. There's no other choice. And that brings us to the most dramatic part of the whole briefing. This is where the crew literally rehearses out loud what they're going to do if the unthinkable happens right at that split-second moment of decision. So here's the bottom line. The briefing makes it crystal clear. Before V1, the goal is to stop. After V1, the goal is to fly, no matter what's going wrong. There is zero middle ground. The aircraft either has enough runway left to stop or it has to get into the air, period. And this is where the briefing becomes a spoken rehearsal. You can almost hear the pilot saying it. Okay, briefing the rejected takeoff. Any malfunction before V1, I will call abort, close the power, and apply maximum braking. Then, for the other scenario, any malfunction after V1, we will continue the takeoff. The entire mindset, the entire plan flips in an instant, and they brief it that way every single time. And if they do have to continue with a failed engine, this is the script they follow. It is a precise, memorized dance. Full power on the good engine, make the standard calls, check the propeller, and then, at exactly 400 feet, they start to clean up the aircraft, retracting the flaps and landing gear, all while climbing to a safe altitude of 2,000 feet to sort things out. But, things breaking on the plane aren't the only threat. The briefing also has these special sections for specific dangers in the environment, things that might be a problem on any given day. So you've got your main departure briefing, right? But then you have these modular special briefings.
You can think of them like plugins for specific risks. If there's a report of wind shear in the area or the conditions are just right for it, they don't just cross their fingers. They brief the exact procedure to fly right through it. I mean, just look at the raw physics happening here. The call-out is wind shear, and the action is instant. The pilot shoves the throttles to take off power, sets the propellers to maximum, and pitches the nose up 10 degrees. But if that's still not enough, the procedure is to literally firewall the power levers, push them as far forward as they will physically go, and use the plane's pitch to stop it from falling out of the sky. It's an aggressive, all-out maneuver just to survive.
Now, the stall briefing is just as critical, and honestly, it's pretty counterintuitive. A stall means the wings just aren't creating enough lift. And to fix it, you have to do something that feels totally wrong. You have to push the nose down a couple of degrees. That action breaks the stall, lets the plane pick up speed, and only then do you gently pitch back up to continue the climb.
So finally, after briefing for every problem you can possibly imagine, the focus comes right back to the perfect, normal takeoff. That final, precise action of getting the plane safely into the air. And even this simple action is briefed with just incredible precision. The pilot will pull back on the controls to raise the nose at a rate of just 2 to 3 degrees per second. Go too slow, and you eat up too much runway. Go too fast, and you risk smacking the tail of the plane right on the pavement. It's a final moment of practiced, perfect control.
So from the weight of the fuel to the speed of that rotation, every last detail has been planned, discussed, and rehearsed. It's a complete flight flown entirely in the minds of the pilots before the real one even begins. So the next time you're in your seat and you feel that amazing acceleration pushing you back, maybe you'll think about the fact that the most important part of your journey was already done, long before the plane even started to move.